Alright. Hello. Let's check the audio. Alright. Hello. Let's check the audio. Okay, that's good. We are good. Okay. Blender. Right over here. Hello. Alright, so, caustic work was done. Main thing I have left to do as far as the water goes, and then I push it to Minkata, is I need to create some mist plumes where the waterfall meets the water and yada yada yada. Yeah. So, I think the first thing, let's see, where is that desktop browser? There it is. And the desktop browser. I'm just going to shrink this on your screen here so it's not taking up the whole freaking screen here. Boop. I'm just going to put it down here. Yeah. That'll do. Sure, Kamaridachi, sure, Kath. Hello. Yeah, okay, so, there is one thing that we're going to be trying to do primarily today, and that is create something of a rising, cloudy mist effect. And the first thing I really need to do is figure out what texture I'm going to use for that. Right here, guys even seeing that zoomed in? No, it's not showing. Let me, come on, where is that? Did I close that window? Capture? Yep, I did close it. Okay, window capture. Nope, that's the same exact window I already have open. Window capture 2? There it is. Window capture 2. There we are. So, this is the... So those of you who remember, way back when, when I did, one of Neighbor's updates, This was a big old cloud texture that rose up from where a big old collapse happened. And I think I'm going to do something similar to this, except I don't specifically want that particular texture. Or rather, I don't want that particular color of texture because the dark blue was more meant to be a smoky, cloudy thing, whereas what I'm looking for today is more, it's a little more pale colored. You can see it's already transparent a bit, so that's fine. I'm going to quickly, off in the side here, you're going to see I'm going to be scrolling through my, my window here as I look for other cloud textures. Like, this is a fairly nice looking cloud texture. I'm going to bring that over. Bring this over. Oh, hello. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, how big is this texture? This is, let's see, layer scale, that's 1024. Okay, layer scale, yep, okay, 1024. Let's have that. Ooh. Okay. Layer scale. I'm gonna break that. 512. Boom. There we go. So I'm gonna set this to color, which is no grain merge. No. soft light, grain, hue, grain, saturation, hard light. Ooh, hello. It's not so bad. Adds a nice little bit of flare there. So I'm gonna duplicate that. Layer, transform, flip horizontally. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna duplicate, layer, transform, flip vertically. Then duplicate, layer, transform, flip horizontally. But that causes some weird color discoloration I don't quite want in the middle there. So I'm gonna come along, I'm gonna take my eraser here. I'm gonna just erase the bottom here. Whoops. That was absolutely not the cut what I want. Look, why is that? This is the eraser tool. Oh, I think I know what's going on here. Why, that's doing it. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, what's going on is, it's a whole thing. So I'm gonna, this to actually no, this is gonna go back to hard light. This is going to merge down. This is going to merge down. I'm going to do ACV to create a new layer. Then, so yeah, like this is going to be set back to normal. And then, what did I set this other one to? I set this one to hard light. Okay, so this is going to go to hard light. And then, now as I erase it, it'll do what I want it to do. There we go. And then I'll duplicate that layer, transform, flip horizontally. Basically what was going on there is, it's just was being a little weird. It was just being a little weird. Yeah. I think that'll do. I'm gonna merge down. I'm gonna go back to my Athshabba's cloud texture again up here. My smoke plume. This is gonna come up here. Layer, transform, flip vertically, and then legacy, and then this is going to go to soft light. And that way it gives us a sort of nice sort of mirrored look there. Yeah, that'll do. File, export as xcol waterfall mist. That'll do. No. Let's see here. Where did that save to? That save to waterfall mist. I'm just gonna come in here again real quick now that I've gotten that a bit better. So I'm gonna just set that to a little more of a transparent value there. And then I'm gonna come along and I'm gonna see how that, yep, ooh, that looks nice. Layer, transform, rotate 90. I'm gonna just that'll do the trick. I'll give it a little more of a scale, and I'm gonna set this to 12. That'll do the trick. That'll give it some nice, faint, streakiness to it, I think. Then again, do I even need that? Actually, no, I don't think I need that specific texture. I think I'll take this one, layer, flip horizontally, hold on, layer, horizontally, what? Layer, transform, rotate, there we go. That makes it flow in the right direction there. Okay, that gives it a nice layer scale. Scale. There we go. And then, yeah, that looks nice. That looks nice enough to me. File. Export as waterfall mist. 2. This way I have a version of it with and without, and that way if I like one without one or the other, I'll go with one or the other. Okay. Close and jump. Okay. Now then, finally to Blender, huh? Okay. Right. Okay. So. There just for reference. Okay. So. Okay. So here's our waterfall thing. And essentially what we're going to do is we're going to create. See, this is where I've been debating what to actually do for this. And I think what I'm going to start with is a plane. We're just going to pull this up. And we're going to scale it out. X 90. Z 90. Okay. This is going to create a new texture. This is going to be our waterfall mist. Yep. First things off, this is going to have fade on it. You reset. I'm going to set this to shadeless. I'll make sure that all my settings here are what I need them to be. Hold on. Boop. Go here. Fade. What's going on here? Okay. Didn't carry those settings over. Density. Get rid of color. Now I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to create a new texture. This is going to be our Misty thing. Open, PNGs. We're looking for Skull Dash Waterfall Mist. Yay, look at that. There we go. And we want the pale part to be near the top here. Then, so before I do anything else, I'm going to parent this to our height ref, no environment map, 0, 0, 0, and there's our object. Now then, let's set this blend pass to a ridiculous 10. Exterior light group. And then I'm going to duplicate this plane, RZ 180. And then I'm going to take this plane. I'm going to take this plane. And just gonna, yeah, that didn't quite work. That didn't quite work. Let me just, boop. The reason I'm doing it like this, rather than just making it a double-sided mesh, is pretty much just that I'm going to have this thing kind of do some weird stuff. Sure up, Dad. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay. This is our object mode. For the moment, that's fine. Then I'm going to come to this Misty thing texture. I'm going to go to frame 0. I'm going to go to my texture offset. I'm going to set a frame. And what did I animate? I went to 120. Okay. Now the question is, waterfall mist. Okay. Which direction is it going to be going in? It's stretched horizontally, so that looks like it's the x-axis. So at 120, I'm going to mess with the x-axis, set that to 1, and then I'm going to go to frame 60.5, there. Now, I'm going to take this top frame, yep, that's why I did that, and I'm just going to stretch it up like so. Tab. I'm gonna come along here, create a new UV map. I'm gonna set this to UV map 0. Oop. Interesting that it flipped around. Oop. Not what I wanted. Tab A. Okay, and I'm going to scale this out. I'm going to scale this by the x-axis to give it a little more plumage. And this is just going to be our temporary mesh for the moment. Our Misty plane. Base ground. Yeah, that'll do for the moment. And we're going to go export it. Sure, buddy. Good question. Different animations for back and side. I I probably need to flip the back side to mirror the front side so it's consistent. But I am going to save that for one of the last steps, I think. Yeah. But I do have a plan, and I think that plan is going to involve using both versions of that texture I just made for the mist. Zuru, there's Zuru. I will actually, well, once we're in here, besides looking at the mist, we will, look and see how all of this, looks, I guess. Because, yeah, you guys haven't seen all of the, fancy stuff that I did for the edge current stuff. I did part of it last week, but I didn't do all of it on stream. So you'll get to see what that looks like right now. I love how that looks. Okay. Okay, so top mesh is not cooperating there a bit because something weird is happening there. Upwards direction is working all right. But ignoring that for the moment, hey, look at all the caustics going on here. It's really hard to see where it's doubled up, but we have, but yeah, we got the, let me come over here where it's a little more obvious. So we've got one texture that's going outwards and one texture that's kind of going inwards, and the intent for that is, to give the impression that we've got the water rippling against there's a current that's hitting the rock, and then the current that's bouncing away from the rock, and so that the rest of this flowing away from it is implied to be from the rebound of it. And then I've of course modeled it so it goes up and down and follows the cliff animation. Yeah, you'll notice I only really did it around the outside edge bits. Part of that was just, it's a lot of work to animate that bit specifically. And another part of it is just, I'm not sure if this is sufficient enough for this area, and if I can even properly add anything around this one, just because of how close to the water it is when it's at the very top. But anyway, moving along. Yeah, well, notice there's a seam in there, which is not what I want to see. So, means I'm gonna have to open up GIMP again. Come in here. I'm gonna drop this in here. Boop. Duplicate layer. Layer. Transform. Flip horizontally. I'm gonna go set this to soft light, which will hopefully balance out that edge issue. File, overwrite, waterfall mist. Discard changes. Duplicate layer. Transform. There we go. Waterfall mist too. Go. I'm gonna come back in here. I'm gonna come along. And I'm gonna move this texture. We're gonna replace it with the other one. Xcol. Come on, where is it? Xcol. Waterfall Mist 2. There we go. And we're gonna come along here to UV map 1. And then I'm going to shrink it slightly by the x-axis. Like so. That's going to get rid of our weird top seam allowance thing that was going on there. Yeah. Should reasonably do the trick. Tab. Scale I. Let's give that a nice wide berth. There. Bring this in a bit like this. Go. It's still a bit... I want that mist to be barely visible at the highest part of the day. Yeah. Come on. Okay. Go. Now, something I'm having to consider here is how I'm going to handle the edges of this. And because I don't want it to just fade away at the top. I kind of want to fade it away as it goes into the distance. So that is going to have to be its own separate thing that I'm going to have to figure out. For the moment, I think, yeah, that'll do for that. I think my biggest concern with this is I think I'm going to need to add height variance. So I can't just have two flat planes. I'm going to need to... yeah, I'm going to need to add some dimensionality to this that is currently not there on the mesh. Yeah, this is going to need some dimensionality to it. Question is, how much dimensionality am I going to have to add to one side versus the other? Still seeing some weirdness at the top. But you can kind of vaguely see stuff rising here, which looks nice. Two. And the highest time of day. Oh, yeah, that has a nice sort of rising misty effect. But it's still giving me a very hard edge where it's meeting things, and that's not quite the look I want. Yeah, I need to give that a lot of dimensionality. Of course, it's going to look a little odd due to the fact that I'm running this in shadeless mode. Because it's always just going to be that hard edge where things meet. Yeah. It's not going to look quite so good in shadeless mode. But yeah, okay. Particle effect. Yes, I could probably use particles here. And I think I may ask Aaron to do me some particles attached right to the base of it, where it's really hitting the water. But for the moment, I want to try and accomplish this as a mesh as much as I can. Okay. I'm going to delete that face, because it's not doing me any good at the moment. So, how am I going to do this? I'm going to subdivide this a bunch of times. I'm going to just select these frontward facing ones. And I'm just going to pull them outward to give it some dimensionality. Grab the bottommost ones. Pull it out. Give it some dimensionality. Grab the center line here. Pull it out. Give it some dimensionality. That leaves a nasty old big gap in the middle there. Which I think I'm going to have to fix instead by focusing on the backside. So bring that in a bit closer. Yeah, okay. I'm not doing anything outside the editor at the moment. I'm just staring at the screen. Yeah. Gonna subdivide this mesh up as well. Then boop, 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 boop. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull it in like that. Yeah. Gonna give that a little more of a rounded feeling vibe. I'm gonna come along to the outside edge here. Pull it out a bit. Gonna just pull it out a bit more. That's still gonna be very flat along the edge. So I'm just gonna give that a little more spread to it. Now, the problem I have with my mesh here is that I've got these open sides. So I'm gonna do here. Nope, that's the wrong. No, that is the right one. Mirror. Okay. Mirror like that. That should hopefully. Okay. Try if I do that. 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 Let's... Ooh, we've got a little bit of a wavy curve there. I like that. I like that little wavy curve in the middle there. That's very nice. Yeah, I like that. Let's pull that out, push that back, and yeah. Okay, that's nice. That's a nice little subtle little curve, implying some motion in the air. Let's export again. Yeah, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the edges and I'm gonna yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna have to do. Is I'm gonna have to yeah, I'm gonna have to do some complicated edge meshing. Yay! Which is annoying, but that's what I'm gonna have to do, Pratt. I think that's definitely what I'm gonna have to do. Okay, Uru. Do I even need this window open anymore? No, I don't think I do. And I'm not even going to bother going out the door. Whee! Okay, so yeah, that's got some of the frontwards dimensionality I want out of it. Still got something weird going along the top edge there, but I'll sort that out. Force 2. Get out of my way. Yeah, the problem is that I'm having right now is that it's not fading away at the edges like I want. So, but it has... It does have some sideways volumetricity to it. Which doesn't look all that good because it's all stripey, but... It's still not quite doing what I want it to do down here. I think what I need to do is I need to layer in more things at the bottom to give it, to really give it that explosive, it's crashing and hitting the water thing that I want, vibe I want it to have. Yeah, I think my biggest problem at the moment is that it's just too wide of a mesh at the moment. Yes, the Cheshire moons. The moons are lovely, lovely, lovely things. I'm gonna just come out here. I'm just gonna shrink it in a bit. There we go. I'm gonna scale by the z-axis again. There we go. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna disable the shadeless modifier on it for the moment. I think it needs a point to emit. No, maybe a 0.05 emit. Yeah. No, 1.5 because it's got to be a little bit brighter than the... Yeah, okay. Tab. Go back to our UV map here. I'm going to scale it in slightly more. Yeah, you're set to UV map. You're set to UV map 1. Cool, cool, cool. Okay. Let's give that a quick look in game real quick. I want to see how that looks before I make my next move. Yeah, I love the moons. The moons are great, Brad. The moons are very Cheshire eyes. Still exporting. So how about all that Uru history and all the cyan the heritage the video game oh, I forget what they're called. Let me look. The Video Game History Foundation Digital Archive for all of the cyan and Uru stuff. Ain't that a fun time to be looking at things? anyone hasn't seen that yet, let me drop a link. Drop a link into chat here. Boop. And pin this message. There we go. Yeah, if anyone hasn't seen it yet, yeah, the, Video Game History Archive posted a whole bunch of, videos from Cyan, and, there's a lot of interesting Uru stuff in there, among other things. Don't be, surprised if it takes a while to load, because some of it is just not, well, it's just the site's been hammered pretty hard the last, the last 24 hours, because people are... Okay, let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Might be a little too bright. Yeah, 1 point. Yeah, I think that's a little too bright. So I'm gonna damper that down to 0.10 again, which is about the same brightness as the actual waterfall. Ah, and then there's another problem with how I've done this mesh, which is to say, opening at the top. Which is going to be very obvious that there's an opening at the top. On the bright side, I got rid of that edge at the top of the screen. So nice. Then there's the other issue, which is blend pass layering. Once you look at that waterfall, it's... So what I clearly need to do is I need to have the water... Yeah, okay. Yeah, the Uru Parable, the Parable era stuff is really, really fascinating. Like, some of the some of the Great Tree stuff, the connection area in there is just utterly fascinating stuff in there. And it's like, I really wonder where some of that would have gone if they'd had the time to really keep at it. Okay. So. I'm going to pull this edge out and in. Should hopefully cover it on that side. I'm going to come and grab this. Stretch this and pull it in, stretch this, in. Okay. And then, because I think I have this a little too far forward on the inside, I'm just gonna bring this in and give it a big old kind of bear hug. Though, if I then if I do that, kind of sort of keep it from clipping too badly, I think. Yeah. I'm going to have to totally re-UV mesh this, or re-UV map this due to that change, but I'm already going to be doing that anyway, so. I'm going to grab these faces. I'm just going to pull them out a bit like that. Boop. Boop. Do that. But again, we have this clipping with this. So I'm going to pull that innards a bit. Go. And I think, because that's clipping a little bit, I'm going to come along here and pull that out like that a bit. Yeah. Actually, no, I don't mind that clipping the edge of that. That's fine. Let's test the age. Yeah, it's gonna make the top. It's gonna make the mist expand outwards as it rises. Yeah. Basically, the idea is to try and make this look like it's organic in the way that water misting upwards is organic, the way that it puffs out like a cloud, basically. It's what it is just a cloud of vapor, water vapor. That's what clouds are. There's water vapor. I really need to fix that. Cheshire Moons? Okay. There's some weird texture bounding on there. 2. There's a little weird texturing there, but that's fine with me for the moment. Yeah, something weird's going on there I need to fix, but the good news is that whatever blend pass issues we're having in there isn't so bad now that we have something over top of it kind of... Now that I need to fix right away. I need to fix that right away. Yes, 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 I do. Tab. Boop. Boop. Come on. Boop. 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 There we go. The other side. Got any loose edges? Nope, that's good. Okay. 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 Okay, I see what's going wrong there. Yeah. Do that. Okay. That's still gonna leave the big ol' thing at the top. So, I think... I think what I need to do... just scale it up, so that way... Look at that. Look at that uneven mesh there. Yep. There we go. I think what I need to do is just make sure that I can't see the top from the lowest point of the animation cycle. So, whoosh, 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 whoosh. Okay. Let's give that a test. Okay, here we go. Loading, 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 loading. I think the thing that I'm most inspired by with the stuff that I've seen from the Uru era stuff so far is the Vika screenshots, which are much higher quality than I think I've ever seen them before. Sure. Very, very fascinating as far as terrain and all that goes. That's the highest it's gonna go. Let's try the lowest it'll go. The water crystals give it a nice back glow. But I need something down below to give it some lighting, too. That isn't that thing. Can I have a light source over here at some point? I feel like I had a light source for these crystals. Probably removed it due to overcomplicated light grouping. Just doesn't look frothy enough at the bottom. Maybe if I move that thing. I think my problem is just that I need an extra light down there. But does my lighting budget afford another light? I'm about to make things very complicated for myself, aren't I? I think I am. Still getting lighting from somewhere. Where are you getting that lighting from? You're getting that lighting from somewhere, aren't you? You gotta be getting that lighting from somewhere. Okay, yep. Yeah, it does an emit value set, but it's getting lighting from the sides and the back side, where maybe that was because I haven't set it to force real time. Ah, maybe that's it. Let me do the... I bet you it was getting lighting from the light I just turned off. It wasn't... Probably wasn't reacting the way it should have, so it had the lighting baked in. Turned on. Yeah, I think I'm about to make my lighting scheme a lot more complicated than I really need it to be. But my problem is I just need something at the bottom to do some lighting work. Yeah, there we go. Now that's getting lit properly. Yeah, okay, so... Yeah, see, that's the problem I'm having with my lighting here, is that during certain times of day, it just gets super dark by the way the sunlight is hitting it. Or rather, the moonlight is hitting it. There are no suns here. Yeah, you can't even see that. Yeah, that's definitely being affected by the real-time lighting. But... yeah, it's just not... Yep. I am gonna have to completely redo my lighting scheme for this area. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. All this for a waterfall effect. I might as... Okay. Question is... There are no suns because mist. Ha 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 ha. Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. Okay. Turn the exterior light group and create a new group. This is going to be waterfall, cliff, light group waterfall soup. Soup. Duplicate that. Give it a moment to recalculate everything because there's now a new light in here. And get rid of the exterior light group. Waterfall soup. Okay. Here, and I also need to add you to waterfall soup. I'm going to make each of these a new texture. Waterfall. 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 Okay. I'm gonna have to do something with that, but first, you also need to be added to waterfall soup. Okay. Then you also need to be set to your own things. Waterfall. Waterfall. Let me just... Okay. Okay. Come along to this. You're going to be set to waterfall. Tab. Just going to select up to you, to your own section. Waterfall soup. Okay. So, I'm going to take this light here, and I'm going to bring it into here. Okay. If I do this. Okay. And I'm just going to duplicate a crystal here. Okay. And the problem you're having is that floor 0. Yeah, you're at floor 02. Walls, you're the most. No, I don't need you to have walls, I think. Wait, no, yes, I do. Walls 06. There we go. Okay, that is getting lighting. Good, 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 good. Duplicate. Let's bring this down. RY. Okay. 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 Start with these. Okay. Into walls, 0.006. Sign. There we go. Okay. I'm gonna add another 10. No. Let's add 30 to that particular light radius. Yeah. That'll do. Okay. Okay. Now then. Let's test the agent. Hope I didn't overload it. I'm not giving up on the waterfall just yet. Lighting group isn't too hard considering we just went through it. It's just I have to keep in mind how many lights are in that light group, and there's a whole thing with the plasma engine where if you have too many lights, it starts turning some of them off on runtime, and No, no, you would not want to include a waterfall unless you're feeling a little masochistic about mist rising where the water hits the ground. But theoretically, if this new lighting thing works out, I may... Okay. Net for 0.2. 6. Okay, I see what I'm missing now. I see what I'm missing now. I know what I'm doing. 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 I know, no. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. I'm just gonna deactivate that for the moment. Just deactivate it. I'm gonna go to my waterfall texture here. And this is going to be waterfall soup. And now that will be lit up. Okay. Wait, you. Don't need you. Don't need you. Okay. I think if this looks good, I may not need the mist thing at all. I may not need the mist tower at all. Excuse me for a moment while this exports while I go get some water to drink. Yeah, you definitely are going to need some waterfalls for the city proper, Prad. At least for your version of it. I think the main thing... I think I got a little overzealous with the mist here. But I don't think I actually need it. Because I think what I've needed is the lighting group change that we just did. I think that was what we needed this whole time. Okay. I mean, I still need to add some more where it meets a bit more to disguise the line a bit, but... 0.2. Almost works. That almost works the way I want it to. That almost works the way I want it to. Just that edge of the waterfall where it's not. It's a flat plane. It's because it doesn't have edges to it. To catch the lighting, of course. Of course. Yep. Oop. Nope. That was not what I wanted. Oh. And Blender crashed. Woo! Okay. We had our first blender crash on stream in a good while. So, okay. I think the issue I need to resolve here to resolve this whole waterfall issue, I think what I need to do is just give it a little depth. Yeah. Boop, boop, boop. I'm not giving it a whole lot, but I think by giving it just a smidgen of extra I think by doing that I will have yeah, there we go. And then if I have a small sort of almost dome-shaped thing here where it meets, that'll catch the light nicely. Okay. But first, export again. You don't need a whole dramatic thing if you can get the lighting right. I think this whole time my issue has just been lighting on this thing. I was too afraid to add another lighting group. And then once I added the lighting group, I realized I don't need the big dramatic thing I was trying to put in to cover the place where the waterfall meets the water. I just need to work on the lighting and get some objects in there to make the lighting better. If that makes any sense. I think that makes sense. Loading. Tab into. Okay. Okay, that's already looking a lot better as for where it's meeting. Net force 0.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, it's catching the lighting, but it's not quite catching it as brightly as I'd like it to be caught. But add a little more dimensionality to that, maybe. Yeah, it's the flat edge that's kind of killing the illusion. So, I think, yeah, Yeah, another crystal on the other side of the waterfall is almost certainly the way to go. Here, so... Question is... Where do I want that crystal? Okay, so let's lower this down to the lowest point. Duplicate. Bring this down here. Kind of need to adjust the size of that so the waterfall effects, so that's solid. People can land on that. Okay. Okay. Now then. Right then. Duplicate! Pray the game doesn't crash. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm gonna reduce the radius on that by like half. Actually, 150. Oops. No. 120? 110. Yeah. There we go. Because, yeah, if I have it over here, it's going to start running into things that I don't have in the light group, and I don't want to mess with those today. So, take this and lower it down just a little bit more. Okay. Then I'm going to come along here alongside the edges. I'm just going to pull it along to give it just the slightest bit of drift. So it's not so organically straight all the way down to the bottom. Just give it just the slightest bit of waver. I'll make it feel a little more organic as it goes along its way. Okay, and then just to give myself a little extra lighting effects. See here, what groups are you in? You are just waterfall soup. Okay, so let's see. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the sun makes 5, and then you are 6. I think I am at my limit for this light group. So, a crystal below the waterline would probably light up the water and the waterfall, but I'm not going to worry too much about the actual water layer at the moment. Oh, fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Yes, the specular shinies, although Plasma Engine does not quite render the specular shinies as well as Blender does. But we'll just have to live with that. It would, but I don't know if the game engine supports that, buddy. I really don't know if the game engine supports that. I really don't know if the game engine supports having the water glow from beneath. Okay. Okay. Net for 0.0. 1, 2. Might need to increase the radius of that. 3. Oh. But then again, maybe not, maybe not. 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that light isn't quite expanding quite as much as I'd like it to, but if I increase it, that's just gonna be weird. Oop. Actually, I think that the reason it's not quite working as well is because there's something off with the lighting. Yeah, give me a second. Let me take the waterfall soup group off of that lamp. And I'm gonna turn that up to 115. You are in waterfall soup, okay. I think I'm at the point where I have to be very cautious about the lighting that I do here. I've got the sun, I've got the moons, I've got 2 by the upper waterfall. I've got 1 in the lower. I got yeah, I think I had to take one of those off I think I just don't have that too wide enough. I don't think I... Okay, I'm gonna risk running into these things over here. $70. $160. I'm gonna bring it in a little closer here. Two. Three, four. Did I add anything else besides sun? No. I should be under my limit. I think now it's just a matter of... I think right now it's just a matter of making sure that I have the light strong enough to affect the item. I swear, lighting. It is a tedious thing. Once you get it looking good, it's great, but getting it to looking good is a thing that takes forever. And lighting is very subjective, yes, buddy. It is so subjective. There's a bit of a visible seam there, but maybe. Why aren't you affecting this? You're affecting that. Got two. Guess we're getting lighting. I'm gonna remove you just to see how that behaves. I think I've gone over my height limit somewhere. I think I've gone over my light limit somewhere. This is lighting for ya. This is lighting. Maybe you're triangulated, but you're having issues down here. So maybe if I subdivide, go, might help things. And if I come along here. give that a little more to reflect off of. Really? Is there not? Okay. Try that. Let's give it a little more edges to calculate off of. May just be what we have to do is just give it more faces to calculate off of. Because if it has more faces, it has more to think about, more to consider, more to work with, I guess. Ah. But, problem with doing what I just did. Looky, 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 a big old gappy gappy. A thought occurs to me why it's doing this. First, let's fix that gappy gappy. Tab. Yoink. There's the gappy gappy. Solid. Aha! Aha! That's what is giving us our issues. Right here, right here, right here. What's happening is that we're running into the issue of my vertex paint versus subdivide. We're running into the issue of my vertex paint now causing yeah, so we're gonna go to our vertex paint. You can see it's all dark and all that, so. Come on. Wireframe. Yeah, see? Now that's gonna. That's exactly what the issue we were running into here. The vertex paint was the issue. Look at that. Yep. That's exactly where we're having our fade off issue. Boop, 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 boop. Boop, boop. I'll bet you that's exactly what it is. If we now go into test and so I probably didn't go over my light limit. What's really happening here is I was hitting the place where I'd vertex painted it dark to simulate the rock being wet, and the lighting just wasn't casting against that dark color because it's a dark color. And I bet you this is exactly why it's going to look better next time. Vertex painting. Sometimes you forget you do it and you're wondering what the hell's going on. But yeah, to achieve a good look in Uri, sometimes you gotta balance the solid vertex painting with the you gotta mix vertex painting and things. In fact, look at that. We've got a faint blue glow on the rocks there. I wonder where that's coming from. Force. 1, 2. A slight side effect here, which is weird, but manageable. And voila! We have blue glow. We have blue glow. That was exactly what was giving us problems, was our vertex painting. But look how fabulous that looks now. And in fact, I know exactly what I'm doing next. For our vertex painting, we're going to come along to this object here. We're going to go... Yeah, we're on side. We're going to go to vertex paint. We're going to go to wireframe. Boop, 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 boop. Boop, 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 boop. Solid? Yeah. Go back to wireframe. Boop, 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 boop. Solid. Okay, and we're going to come along to this object now. And we're going to set this to vertex paint. Yup. Wireframe. Boop, boop, boop. Boop, boop. Vertex paint. There we go. Okay. So once we're done with this next export, I'm going to do the thing that I think I need to do next most of all. And what is that, you might ask? I'm going to put some vertex paint on the waterfall. That's some calculation weirdness I'm going to need to sort out. Oh, but look at that lovely blue glow in here now. Woo! Oh, yes. Look at that blue glow. I not go far enough with... Anyways, that side looks good. This side is being weird. Okay. We're doing good. We're doing good, we're doing good, we're doing good. Okay. Huh. Uh-huh. I knew there was something slightly funky going on there. Got a slight ledge thing going on. So yeah, we're gonna come to our waterfall here. I'm gonna just give it a light dousing of blue down here. And then I'm gonna go get a drink of water again real quick. BRB. I'm back. But yeah, Pratt, I would say as long as you're both just working on your own things for the sake of working on them, and if one is, if neither are really destined to be set to Mula, I mean, I don't really think there's any conflict of interest. I mean, arguably my main reaction would instead be, yay, 2 cakes! So, okay, so, what's going on here that you're still getting shadow? Any light in here? Okay, it's the sunlight that's casting the most issue. As long as there's an actual visual reason for the mesh to be like that, I'm okay with there being some lines like that. 3, 4. Okay. I think my problem here is that my light here is not casting enough light on this side of things. So the vertex paint is still... it's not getting any light, so it's in shadow. How do I want to rectify this? I think the easiest... I'm going to duplicate this light again, and pray that I'm not going over my light limit, which I shouldn't be. But yeah, I'm going to set this down to like 100. Actually, let's set that up to 150. Okay, where's... You're set to the waterfall. Where did I just put the one? Yeah, there we go. Okay. Set that to 200. No. Set that to 140. Don't need it to be that bright. I just... $150? 160. There we go. That should do the trick, I think. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that should do the trick. Right then. Before I forget, let's actually do the thing I said I was going to do. Right, okay. Create plane, tab, scale, bump, mist. I'm going to reuse this texture that I just went to all the trouble of setting up anyway, so... Okay. I'm going to briefly turn on the color. I can turn off Misty thing so I can see that this thing looks like. There we go. Okay, so, what is the plan with this? For starters, I'm just gonna do this sort of thing. Like that. Exact same thing here. There we go. And then select all those. No. Delete face. Okay. Boop. Boop. Extrude. Scale inward. Oh, no. Before I do that, yeah, see, we want it to be a little slightly inside. Nope. Inside like that. Okay. And then that'll... like that. Yeah. There we go. So, now we have all this. I'm going to switch to UV map 1. We're going to engage the Misty thing. Disable. Nope, it's the other one that needs the color disabled. Color off, there we go. And we're just going to hit reset. And that's not going to look pretty because they're not all lining up properly. Boop, boop. We're going to rotate this until it kind of looks like it matches. Okay. So we've got that. Stretch that. gonna stretch that. Pull it forwards, pull it out, pull it forwards, pull it out. And then we're gonna give it some height. Not a lot of height, but just enough that it's gonna catch the lighting differently. Like so, I think. Yeah, okay. And then we're gonna parent this to... what's the name of this one? Wait, okay. And now I have to fix the rotation of it. What's it supposed to do? Tab. Okay. There we go. Gonna just lower that down until it's there. Okay. To be shadeless. This is going to be our Misty connection. There we go. And if I've done everything correctly, yes, mist volume second take. This time it's not going to be such a big thing, but it's going to be just a little small thing. See if this looks any better. Because depending on how this looks, I may have to scale it out. Of course, I may have to rotate one of the animations. We'll see. I have no idea which way the animation will play, so we'll have to see how that looks once we get in here. Some of it's turning in the right direction, some of it's turning in the wrong direction. Yeah. So I think all of it's turning in the wrong direction. No, not all of it. Just most of it. Put that in right. Minute. 4, 0. 0. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to... force real-time lighting on you like I've done here. Wonderful does not need collision. Waterfall does not need a collision mesh. I'm sorry. What were you thinking past me? Going back to shadeless on this. Rotate, rotate. I'm just gonna do that, I think. I'm just gonna give it a slight words tilt here. And ideally, that will mask it, I hope. Move shadeless again. Gonna set this to smooth shading. Yeah, that'll do the trick. Okay. Test age. Yeah, hit a waterfall. The waterfall should not have collision, but I had collision on it anyways for some reason. Probably because I copied it off of an object that had collision and But yeah, I'm thinking that I may need to have Aaron do some more particles on this, just to add an extra layer of obfuscation on it, because I don't think just plain alone is going to help. If this was a static time of day age, like, say, Calamy, I think I could get away with a lot of layering really well. The fact that I made this, a multi-time of day, day-night cycle age, I think I'm going to have to ask Aaron to borrow whatever design work Cyan did for Edurgira's particles. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That almost works. Oh, hold on.
Hello, Moto.
Spam call. That almost works. Okay. Okay. I think I know what I need to do now. We go to our UV map here. Color. Going to reset. Going to rotate, rotate, rotate. Scale inward. Like that. Up. Reset. Rotate, rotate, rotate. Scale it in. Okay. Time to see if does anything. Just gonna yoink that upwards a bit more. And then I'm just gonna play it safe and make this one double-sided. I'm not gonna fuss with the back side of the mesh. Whew. Just waiting on it to export. Export, 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 exporting. go. I think we're onto something. I think I need to make sure it's all flowing upwards rather than all downwards, but... I think... that masks it almost perfectly. Almost perfectly. I think I know what I need to do to make it work better, but... I think that covers it. Yep, I think I know what I need to do, and that's mostly just layering now. Okay. Okay. Tab. Project. Let's unwrap this. No. I did it wrong. Right, I did the wrong layer. There, you unwrapped. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to duplicate this. Nope, that was wrong. And then we're going to do the old-fashioned trick of waterfall mist. Boop. Doop. And we're going to bump that up to an 11. And this is going to have just a slightly different, okay. I'm just gonna... No! Gosh darn it. Boop. 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 There. And I'm gonna shrink that in about like so. Okay. Basically, what I got going on here is layers of mist going on. Yeah, I'm gonna have to change the texture a bit. It's a bit too... Yeah, it is very regular for... Yeah, it's... I'm gonna have to do different... It's a little too regular, yes. I'm gonna definitely change the texture, but for the moment, this is just me trying to make sure I get everything moving in the right directions. And getting layering to look mostly right, I think. They're all going in the wrong direction, but... does give a nice volumetric vibe, doesn't it? Actually, having one of those layers going down and having one of them go up might actually be very nice. Of a complement of the mist rising and then falling again. Yeah, that might. Yeah, that's exactly what I need to do. I need to have one layer going up, and I need to have one layer going down. Tab. Boop. Boop, boop. here are going to be split off by selection. This is going to be Misty Connection Rising, Misty Connection Sinking, there we go. So let's bring up our textures again. It's not quite as fluffy. That's going to be obviously repeating. You know what? Let's go with Islam Cloud Layer. That looks like it'll repeat. And then let's come along here with this. Nope, that went to the wrong layer, wrong program entirely. Jeez. I'm gonna legacy. This is going to be set to color. No, soft light, grain merge, saturation. Nope, color, value, overlay, multiply. There we go. And then I'm gonna duplicate it. I'm gonna set that to hard light. And then just to give it a little bit of variance. Actually, let's set you to normal. Bring you down here. And we'll let's find another cloud layer just in case that one doesn't look good. A little too noxious for a water phone. Come on, where's a good sky texture? Well, guess I'm going with this. Okay, let's grab you. Okay, fill, legacy, starlight, grain merge. In merge, okay. That'll be... Put as... Waterfall sky. Mist 2. Okay. Yes. Alpha texture. The old texture archive. The larger the better. Okay. Let's close GIMP. Open. Then I made that all caps. Mist 2. Okay. And I'm gonna leave that one for the moment, just to see how this looks. Cheers indeed, an alpha texture. I think this is going to look good. If I have a layer of mist going upwards, it looks very cloudy. And then I have one that comes down and is kind of a more streaky, almost rain-like looking thing. It should theoretically work. Unless, of course, I have the direction backwards. Tab. Rotate, rotate. Noticed a line in there, though. Let me... Boop. Jump. Duplicate layer. There. Form, flip horizontally. And then I'm gonna take the eraser and get rid of a big old chunk of it. And this way it should loop a little more seamlessly. just so I can see what I'm erasing. Boop, 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 boop. There we go. Grain merge. All missed. Oh, there we go, there we go. Let's test this out. The problem there, Prad, was that the edges didn't line up properly. Some of Cyan's Skydome textures have visible seams where they meet up, and they covered that up through various means. But in this case, I kind of have to make sure the texture repeats into itself. Whee! That looks really, really good, except that it doesn't go high enough for my liking. 2. And again. Doesn't need to. Why do I have a missing face and a vertex there? Anyway, yeah, that looks pretty good. I just need to make sure that yeah, I just need to make sure that this... I just need to make sure this comes out a bit more. you out, pull you forwards, pull you forwards, pull this forwards, forwards a bit, pull this, pull that. So that little weird missing vertex must have just been where my two meshes were colliding, I bet. It's getting 3 hours. Oi, I think after this export, I'm gonna call it. Because I think I've gotten exactly what I've been looking for on this. I think I finally started and ended an episode with exactly the goal I had in mind being accomplished. Pretty much. I think I am very happy with what I have going on here. I think I'm probably going to need to blur the edges maybe slightly, but I think if I do that, I will leave that up to Explorer feedback on Minkata to decide if I need to further refine the edges of that. Because I do not want to just keep flying. Okay, time of day 2 is probably the worst that's gonna look. It looks a little weird up close. I think this is probably where I'm going to need particles to help cover it. Big poofy particles blowing up through the air. Maybe. But I'm going to say I think that looks fairly good. It might need a little more work to get the slopes right, because that little notch right there looks a little unnatural, but overall, I am happy with how that looks. Really? Okay, so it's getting light back here. Why is it not showing it over here? I'll keep working on that. Oh well. Anyway, I think the mist is pretty good. I am pretty happy with how this looks, I think. So yeah, I think... I think I'm really only gonna need particles for like right up close in here. Maybe another layer or two of Misty plains? We'll see. We'll see. I am otherwise very happy with what's going on. But yeah, I'm very happy with the uprising mist and then the falling mist look, because it gives it, because when you combine that with the waterfall going down, it gives this sense of continual motion. But yeah, I'm happy. I am happy with this. I am happy. I think what I'll do is just take this. Just do that, and I think I'm gonna call it there for the day. And more importantly, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to package the age, export the age. Yeah, I think I'm gonna need the layers of mist to be a little closer so you don't see so much of a gap when you look down. Looking down, seeing a gap is going to be annoying, but I think what I have is good enough to push to Minkata and get some feedback on it from the wider audience. So yeah, I'm gonna call that a day. So yeah, where is it? There we are. But yeah, take care, everyone. I will see you all next time. And hopefully with a actual new desk IRL that I will have things set up on. And maybe I can finally do some model kit building on stream with an actual desk surface that isn't super tiny and not conductive at all to model kit building. I don't know. Anyway, take care, everyone. Bye.